Hi everybody, this is Kelly from SheepDreamery, and it's been 2 weeks or so since I last did a video cast, and that's because first there was nothing going on, then I was busy, then I just felt like too gross and ugly and fat to want to videotape myself. So I'm over it. Um, okay, what am I going to talk about today? Um, Yesterday was Cyber Monday, and I had a sale, and if you bought anything at my sale, thank you very much, and I hope that you really enjoy what you bought. Um, Most of the stuff that people bought yesterday was yarn that I dyed just last week. I got really inspired by the Fat Fiber December's, what is it, theme, which is Nordic culture. And so I decided to start doing a lot of different colorways, and then I based a lot of the names on whatchamajiggers. Old Norse gods and Valkyries and things like that. And it was a lot of fun. My husband even likes the yarn that I dyed last week better than the yarn I've been dyeing previously. So hopefully once all this yarn's dyed up, I will be able to go ahead and order some more yarn, and I'm going to try to start dyeing more things in the same colorways. Right now, since I'm still like so small as a company, I can really only do small batches of different things, and I want to try a lot of different things to see what people like and respond to. And people really seem to be responding to the colorways that I made last week. So hopefully during the next few months, that is what I'm going to focus on, is just getting more yarn in the styles that people like. My Patapsco sock yarn is pretty popular. People really seem to like that one, and it's reasonably priced. I think I have it priced at around $20, but it's good sturdy sock yarn. And I did get a couple of other sock yarns to try and dye, and those are also up on the Etsy site, so you can take a look around and see what you like. There are some with nylon in them and some without, and it should be fun for you to just look at, right? Right. Everybody likes to look at pretty colors. I know I do. I'm a huge fan of pretty colors. What have I been knitting lately? Not much. Between dyeing and then Thanksgiving last week, I really didn't have a whole lot of extra time to knit, so when I did have free time, I would play Star Wars: The Old Republic online. I love playing video games. It really helps me de-stress. And I never, well, I used to really like playing video games after I was a grown-up. As like a kid and a teenager, my parents would not let me play video games. We did have like it was in the 80s, so we had the CompuServe, TS-80, stuff like that, and there was like, if I wanted to play a game, then I would have to write all the code in myself. First you have to buy a magazine that has all the code, and then you have to write in all the code yourself. So basically, instead of playing the game, I was spending hours coding, and by the time I got done coding, I really didn't want to play those games anymore. I wanted to go over to my friend's house and play on their Commodore 64 that already had everything set up. Or, I'd babysit kids in the neighborhood that had the, brand new Nintendos with Duck Hunt, and that was great too. So, yeah, I was not allowed to be around video games as a kid. That was probably a good idea. But anyway, it's one of the things that I do to de-stress, not distress. And the gaming community is really odd, but when you find the right people to play the games with, it's a lot of fun. I've made so many great friends from playing these video games together online, and it's really great. There are servers where you can talk to each other, actually talk to each other while you're playing the game, and there's lots of jokes and in-jokes and weird things going on. Sometimes, everybody decides, okay, this is our drinking night, we're gonna drink and we're gonna talk, and it's just a good time. It's a lot of fun. And so last week Star Wars became free to play, and during this entire year, I've still been paying for my subscription for it. I never stopped. And I decided, okay, it's free to play, and I haven't played it for a couple months. I should at least go and get in there and see what the community is going to be like once these free-to-play people come in. Are they all just going to be jerks, or are people going to like it enough to want to play it? And it's been about a week, and so far it seems okay. It seems like, well, in the lower levels it seems okay. In the higher levels it still seems really empty, and there are only 7 or 8 servers right now, and when you're at the maximum level, level 50, and I have a character at level 50, you are in these higher levels and playing in these higher areas, but there's no one else around, and for me, I kind of don't like that. Okay, I'm really weird, because I like to have people around while I'm playing, but I don't necessarily want to play with them. I don't necessarily want to group with them. I just want them to clear a bunch of mobs on this side so I can clear a bunch of mobs on this side, and we can just both get our goals done at the same time. I don't like being in an area on my own and then getting overwhelmed and then dying all the time. It's really stupid. And even if I asked for help, there aren't very many people on that would be able to say, yeah, I can come over and help, no problem at all. So I'm weird about it, but I'm also kind of hopeful that the people that are doing this as free to play decide that they do want to go ahead and get to level 50, and then maybe there will be more exciting things for me to do at level 50. For people who are more curious, I'm on Eben Hawk. My level 50 is a Jedi Consular, and her name is Maisie. Actually, my dog Maisie was, you can hear her barking right now, she was named after one of my characters in World of Warcraft. So I really like the name Maisie, and I try to keep it in games wherever I am. So if you decide to play, go ahead and look for Maisie if you decide that you're going to play as a Jedi. I also have other characters on Ebon Hawk that are on Sith side and on Jedi side, and frankly I really like playing more as a Sith Inquisitor, which is basically the same as a Jedi Consular, except you're Sith. You're, evil, spooky. And she's got a cool accent, and she's like, "Oh, how dare you, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Ooh, okay." So, she's a good time. And I'm going to take a sip of coffee right here in just a second. Okay. Now, what have I knit? The only thing I have been knitting on is my sweater, my vitamin D sweater. And there's actually some progress because I knit a sleeve. Yay! So that's exciting. And I am starting on the second sleeve over here somewhere. So I'm getting something done. Maybe I'll have it finished by Christmas. I didn't start the sweater with the anticipation that I would actually get it completed in a month. I've never completed an adult sweater ever before. Baby sweaters, those still take me a couple weeks to get done. I'm just a slow knitter. So, that's all that I've knit. And have I bought anything good? Well, the other day I bought some more needles. I don't know if you've used the short Brittany needles before. Let me get closer. What are they? I don't know. Brittany needles. I bought these because the other day I had a visitor. Her name is Abby, and her mom's husband is my husband's best friend. And Abby just learned to knit last weekend, but her mom sent me an email on Sunday and said, can we stop by and look at your yarn? Because Abby's a knitter. I was like, oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, come on, stop by anytime. So Abby picked out a couple of skeins of yarn, and I said, what have you already knit? And she said she'd knit scarves. I said, oh, okay. I said, this is sock yarn, so if you knit it on bigger needles, and the scarves are going to be kind of loose, and come to find out, she had only learned to knit on Saturday. She's like, I don't know why my mom's making such a big deal out of it. I was like, because she's proud. She's happy. She loves you. And you're doing something that she hasn't been able to figure out how to do. And she's just really proud of you and wants to share it with everybody. So I think that kind of made her understand a little bit. But then I had her stay. Her mom left, and Abby hung out with me for a while, and I taught her how to bind off. I taught her how to purl, and I gave her some size 10.5 needles so that she can go ahead and knit a hat. And I gave her some DPNs so that when she gets to the top of the hat, she'll be able to mess with that. And I also said, go to Ravelry and go to, I think I gave her the address for like Trixie Knitter for videos and things like that. And she hasn't contacted me, and I don't know if she actually got on Ravelry, but I said, there is an area for teens and stuff like that. And she's a sophomore in high school, but she's really cute, and she made me happy. It was nice. It's nice to just talk to knitters and have somebody who's brand new at it and is excited to learn about it come by. And she goes to an all-girls Catholic school, and she said that the reason why she started knitting was because in study hall a lot of her friends are taking a class that's home ec, but it's not called home ec anymore, and in their home ec class they're knitting. And so when she was in study hall, she wanted to be able to knit too. So hopefully she's going to, tell her friends about my shop, and her friends will buy some yarn, and it'll be a good time. But that also definitely inspires me to dye more in worsted weight and maybe some bulky weight, because when I showed her the needles that I use for socks, she was like, "Whoa, those are so tiny." And I said, "Well, after a while, after a lot of practice, you'll get used to sizing down." But she just looked so intimidated by that. I was like, "Here, take these size 10.5s." So, but when I was showing her the sock that I was knitting, I realized that I had broken one of the needles, so I decided I would buy some more sock needles. And I went ahead and I bought another pair of the square knitting needles on size 8s because I want to give them a chance and see if maybe they work better. Also, I am knitting a wedding blanket for my daughter. She got married last month, and the blanket's still not finished. And one of the reasons it's not finished is because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I'm really worried that when I am sewing these squares together, it's gonna look like absolute crap. The squares right now, by themselves, stacked all up nice and pretty, are great. I just have this terrible fear that once I stitch everything up, it's gonna look terrible and she's gonna hate it. And I don't want her to hate it. So I keep putting it off. But maybe now that I bought those needles, I'll say to myself, "Okay, Kelly, it's time to get it done. And stop worrying so much. Everything's going to be okay. Everything always winds up being okay," which is just one of the very weird truths of my life. I've had a lot of really, really, really terrible stuff happen in my life, but I've had so many other good things happen that when the really terrible stuff comes by, I try to focus and remember this other good thing's going to happen. You just have to wait. You just have to wait. And that's what helps me a lot. The last thing I bought, and oh my gosh, I am so happy with this. There are like no words to express how much I love this. Let me show you. This is a sock pouch made by Rista 1313 at Girl Cave Bags. Look at this. Look at the little button. Let me see if I can get it up there. Isn't that neat? But look at this fabric. I love this fabric. This fabric makes me so happy. It is so cute. It is so adorable. I'm just like, I love this. Look at this. You know, if you said to me, Kelly, I'd like to give you a bag and it's covered with snails and frogs and mushrooms, I'd be like, why do you hate me? But I actually saw this fabric myself and was like, I need this. I really need this. Just, it makes me so happy. This color combination and everything's cute. I mean, I am not afraid of that frog. I am not afraid of that snail. And that fox is a cutie. Look at that mouse. That mouse is having an awesome time on that swing. That swing is on a flower. It's like everybody's happy. And then look at the mushroom. Look at the mushroom. There is a gnome just hanging out on that mushroom. He's having a good old mushroom time, if you know what I mean. And I think maybe you do. Maybe you do. Okay, and then here's the inside of the bag. And some more foxes. Just cute little foxes. But it has a nice little, let's see, the bottom folds out to be nice and flat. And then there's a little loop here, a little loop here, and it zips up, and I just love it. It makes me so happy. And it's so weird, the things that wind up making you happy. Like, when I put the order in for it, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. This is going to be neat. But when I opened it up yesterday, I was like in tears. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I love this. I love it forever. And I don't know how to explain it. It just like cheers me up when I look at it. I'm like, how is this so awesome? I'm in love with this fabric. I am in love with the sock pouch. And, okay, she also put in a sample of a Lolo bar. So now I have to figure out, does she sell these or does somebody else? Because there's a lot of information on the back of this, except I don't see anywhere where there's like, wait a minute. It's just so tiny. I can barely read it. Okay. Oh, it's actually a company in Vancouver, Washington called bar-maids.com. And this is a citrus basil. It's just like a cuticle cream, I guess. It smells awesome. It smells really great. So I'll probably order some and put it in my stocking because nobody remembers to put stuff in my stocking at Christmas time. Just me. I put my own stuff in my own stocking. It's kind of sad. But at least I get, you know, what I like for myself. I've been working on not saying, you know. Or at least I thought I was, but I'm not. And I apologize for that. You don't know. You don't know. It's just that when I'm looking at myself talking, I'm going, you know, because I look like I'm talking to me. Hey, Kelly, you know, you know, you know, you know that time? Remember that one time? Remember, Kelly, when we did that thing that one time? You know, you know. So that's why I wind up saying, you know, a lot. And I apologize because I'm actually talking to an audience and I have these post-it notes. My first Post-it note says, talk to Oprah. Oprah doesn't know. So I try to remind myself, okay, no matter what I'm talking about, explain it as if Oprah has no idea about what it is. And then my other one is for me to not keep saying, okay, because that can be really annoying too. Instead, no. Maybe instead of saying, okay, I'll say, está bien? Sí, entonces, and then we'll just go on to the next thing. So, talk to Oprah. Oprah, hello. I've been watching you since I was 7 years old in Baltimore. And I have a friend who works for Oprah, but, wait, Okay, I have a friend who worked for Oprah, and she can't say anything about anything because of the non-disclosure agreement that she had to sign for when she worked for Oprah. So, she's not even allowed to talk about Oprah after Oprah's dead. Isn't that crazy? And she didn't tell me this because she can't tell me any of it. If you're ever really curious about things, you should read the Kitty Kelly biography that she wrote about Oprah, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. I got a kick out of it. Maybe not all of it is exactly true, but I would think that Oprah would kind of, well, it's impressive that people continue to listen to her and do what she wanted constantly, all the time, or otherwise suffer her wrath. That's kind of amazing. That's a superpower. You just can't get that from anybody. And, it's kind of like Scientologists. Sorry. Don't say too much or you're gonna get it. So, anyway, I am working on not saying and I am working on not saying okay. Anyway, happy bag, happy bag. This is such a happy bag. If I had a baby kitten in this bag, that would be the best thing ever. Baby kitten in a bag. We're gonna have a good time. Okay. Anyway, this bag makes me happy. Okay. Now, last week, the fat fiber boxes went out for November, and as you may recall, I dyed bonfire night. And I have, this is a terrible, terrible thing to talk about. When I dyed the colors for bonfire night, I assumed that I would be able to buy more dye and that I would receive it within about a week, and I would have more dye on hand to dye the yarn. This dye that I use is only distributed in the United States by one individual. And after the order was processed, I did not hear anything back for a few days. And I thought, okay, maybe this person just runs on island time and she's going to get to it when she gets to it. But I also knew that people were going to want to order colors in the bonfire night colorway soon. And so after a week, I sent her an email and said, "Can you please let me know what's going on?" And she never responded. She's not dead. She's on Twitter tweeting away. She's, oh, you don't know. She is existing on other parts of the internet. And so we are having a dispute with PayPal right now to get back the money for the order that I placed. And it's really aggravating to know that she's online and she's doing things and she's ignoring not only my email but the email from PayPal. She's not even responding to PayPal. And it makes me look bad that I don't have these dyes on hand to be able to dye this colorway anymore. I tried to reproduce it with other dyes that I have on hand, and it just did not come out the same. So I feel terrible. I feel awful about this. And frankly, I am looking forward to PayPal closing her account because she's just not responding to anything. That's kind of mean for me to say, but I'm trying to run a business and she's running a business, right? She should be a businesswoman who's on top of things and getting things done. I'm expecting the same amount of customer service from her that I give to my own customers. And not responding to things within a certain amount of time is just completely bizarre. And it's not like she can say, "Oh, my computer broke," or whatever, because she's on Twitter. She's on Ravelry posting and things like that. That's the kind of thing that just really aggravates me and makes me mad. And I hope that it's resolved soon. Anyway, I am ready for December's Fat Fiber box. And as I said earlier at the beginning of the videocast, the theme is Nordic culture. And so, this is Aurora Borealis. This is what's going to be going out in the samples for December in the Fat Fiber box from me. I think it turned out really, really pretty. I'd like to just keep it for myself, frankly. I think it turned out great. I'm excited about it. So that's what's going to be going out in the December boxes. Fat Fiber boxes go on sale on December 15th, I guess. And I'm going to do 15-yard samples this time. Last time I did 20-yard samples, but this time I'm going to do 15-yard samples, just so that more people will be able to get a chance to experience it. Okay. Oh, not okay. Okay? No. ¿Está bien? Sí. Entonces, here is more of the yarn that I dyed last week. This is in the Arundel base. It is light fingering weight, 490 yards, and it's just all superwash wool. There we go. That's close to the right color. This is Snorri. as some of you may know, Snorri was the Norse historian of most of the Nordic mythology. He was around in the early thousands AD. And then also in the Arundel yarn base, this is Ice Queen. There is a little bit of white in it every once in a while, and Megan from Stockinette Zombies, I don't know if you saw the other week, she was knitting with some yarn, and she was like, I hate seeing these white spots because it's doop, 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 doop. Because sometimes the white just peeks out where you don't want it to. But this is mostly a semi-solid. So, that's that. What else do I have in my bag of tricks here? Okay. Now, this is worsted yarn. I am working on doing worsted stuff. And this is the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This is actually, I'm trying to get it close. This is the colorway where I tried to recreate Bonfire Night and just couldn't do it well enough. But it did turn out pretty interesting. It's very warm red tones, tiny bits of orange, and a slight bit of peach, and then the rest is just black. And if you've never seen the movie Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr. in it, you should. It's really funny. And I have it on my TVR. I need to watch it. So this is on my worsted line, and this is Chop Tank. Most of my yarn bases are named after rivers in Maryland because the waterways growing up were very important to me. I was born in Maryland, and then we lived in Florida, and then we moved back to Maryland, and so the beach and the water have always been a huge part of my life, and so that's why I would name a yarn something like Chop Tank. It's because that's a river in Maryland on the eastern shore. Okay, let's see. Then this is this is the Tapsco line. It's a pink. God, I can't even remember the name of it right now. I really need to label these up. I'm kind of unhappy with my labels right now. And if you get anything that's labeled from me right now, I apologize, because I agree that the labels look really crappy. The printer that we have can't handle cardstock because the printer takes paper from underneath and rolls it up. It doesn't go from the top and then under. If we had a printer that went from the top and then under, then things would look a lot nicer and a lot better. And unfortunately, we just can't afford a new printer right now. So I have a few options that I'm exploring, and I do apologize in advance for the crappy labels. And some people didn't even get labels on theirs because I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I'm still, no, you don't know. I'm living, I'm learning, and I am attempting to fix problems that I know exist. I'm not just ignoring them. But here's Patapsco yarn in a pink colorway. I'm pretty sure this is Brynhilder. It's a really nice magenta pink and dark red and tiny bit of white. Bloop, bloop. And then we have, this is also Patapsco. This definitely has a lot of white in it, in different spots. And this is called Pining for the Fjords. I assure you, this yarn is not dead. But, okay, so it's not Nordic culture, but, I mean, how can you not include that? So, you know, pining, fjords, dead parrot. Okay. And then the last that I have in the Patapsco line right now is Regenleaf. And this was a fun one to make. Lots and lots of colors going on in here. There's a lot happening. It's a good time. You'll notice this one on the left here doesn't have quite as much of the magenta red in it as the other one does. I mean, this one's kind of just chock full of it, and this one just has a wee tiny bit. So this one has a lot more yellow in it than the other one. So if you decide that you like these, but you don't like yellow all that much, say, give me the one that doesn't have as much yellow, and I'll know what you mean. Okay? And then moving on. Actually, this is more of the Aurora Borealis. It's not on sale because I'm holding back on it until the fat fiber boxes drop for December. So they're just kind of hanging out. And then we have these. And this is new. This is a new sock yarn. It's 400 yards. And Abby was a big fan of this. So if you're looking for colorways that teenage girls are into, this is it. This is what she was drawn to. It's magenta and red and purple and black. It's a lot like the It's Glitz, except there's no glitz in this. Okay. And let's get to the very end here. You may notice I am wearing a sweater, and it's it has a big old cow on it. I'm a fan of big cows. And actually, I don't know if you know who Knit Pearl Girl is. She is another podcaster. Apparently she died on Monday, and it's been a big shock to people who have been her friends for years and have known her for years. I've only been aware of her for the past month and a half or so, because I really didn't know that knitters did podcasting and videocasting and things like that. But a lot of the knitting community obviously is very upset and sad. And one of her requests the other week was for videocasters and podcasters to wear their ugliest sweaters. So, let me see if I can show you. It's got cables, it's got shoulder pads, it's got a cowl, and this color is just not my color. But I don't think the sweater's ugly. The sweater belonged to my aunt, and she was my favorite aunt. She died in 2000, and it was a very sudden and unexpected death. She had actually been down in Florida to visit my Nana, and she had a cold and went to bed that night and died in her sleep with my uncle sleeping in bed right next to her. And she just died. And that was very weird and sudden and sad. And when you don't expect somebody so happy and vibrant to just not be there anymore, sometimes you just don't know how to react. For me, when she died, they had been living in Rumson, New Jersey, and I was out here in Ohio. So I could just always tell myself, Aunt Marilyn's on vacation. And that's just why I haven't heard from her. So anyway, the sweater belonged to her. And when my mom and I went to the house to help clear out her things, this was the one thing. One of the things that I took. The other thing is a Ralph Lauren headscarf that I wear a lot in the summertime because it has sailboats on it. But I understand how people feel about having somebody that you look forward to hearing from and seeing every day suddenly not be there anymore. And my aunt had died in February, and for Christmas the year before, she had made strawberry banana jam, and I kept it in my refrigerator for 3 years. I just could not get rid of it. I couldn't eat it either. I just needed to have the jam with me. So I understand how a lot of you are feeling right now, and I'm sorry that you all are hurting so much. I'm sorry that their family is hurting so much, and it's just a very sad thing all around, right? And I was just reading real quick on Ravelry that Corgi TM is requesting to have everybody make snowflakes, and then she's going to send them in so that the kids will have snowflakes decorating their Christmas tree from other knitters. So I'll probably get that done within the next week or so. And I really feel for them. I really feel for all of you who knew her much better than I did. And just, I know that you're in shock and that you're sad, and it's just, I feel your pain. That's a terrible, terrible way to say things. I feel your pain, but I know what you're going through, and sometimes we just don't have answers for things, and we just have to keep going even though we don't have the answers. Okay. Wow. Okay. What a downer for me. But anyway, this is the sweater that I keep. And I'll probably always keep it. So. I hope you're all doing okay. And today I did I did do something happy today. I also participated in random acts of patterns. Oh, sorry. Okay. One of the things that Carrie did that she kind of promoted and was kind of her thing was called random acts of patterns, where on Ravelry you go and you look in somebody's queue and see what's on their wish list, and then you surprise them with a pattern. So today I went around and went through some people's queues and gave them some patterns, and I hope that cheered them up a little bit. I actually know that some people were really happy and thanked me and stuff, and it was fun to look through their stuff and go, oh, they need that, I've already knit that, I think that's great, or I already had that pattern. I would love for somebody else to also knit that pattern so that I can see how it turns out when they do it, and I can see how it turns out for myself too. We can both look together. Or somebody had Galadriel socks on their wish list, and I gave those to them, and I'm really excited about it because I love socks, but I don't think I could ever like do cabled socks. But like, I want her to knit the socks so that I can see how they turn out, and how I also want to find out how people feel while they're knitting things. Like Amy Froggy Monkey, I gifted her a pattern that is a sweater that has a lot of color work in it. And so she already said, oh, thanks for the challenge. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's so cool, that's so neat. And like now I wonder what color combinations she's gonna use and who she's gonna give it to and things like that. But I'm also like, oh God, Tarsha, forget it. I'm not in a sweater. No. So, like, there's the part of me that's like, I want to knit vicariously through you. Please enjoy this pattern because I want to see you knit it so that I can know how it turns out. So, anyway, wow, I've been talking for almost an hour, and I thought, I don't have jack crap to talk about, but here we go, here I am, here we are. So, I hope you all have a great week. I'm going to continue knitting my sweater. I am going to definitely knit a snowflake. I'll probably go looking for a pattern for it right now so that I don't forget about it. I don't think it's possible for me to forget about it right now, but just to keep it in the forefront of my mind and get it done is important, I think. So I'm happy if you all watch, and I hope you decide to turn in again next week, and I will try to get this done next week. What's today, Tuesday? Maybe I'll do it Tuesday next week. We'll see. Anyway, have a great week. If you haven't participated in random acts of patterns, maybe you could do that for somebody. Be a little elf, make somebody happy. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.